30 minutes of power.
Welcome back to another lovely episode of 30 Minutes of Power, TOP, your one-stop shop for all things encouraging, entertaining, and motivating. It's your girl, people, Jory O'Neill here. What's going on, folks? Hey, I got a good one for you today. I know. We're always talking about God and Jesus and all the beautiful things of the Spirit. Today, we're going to talk to an individual who helps coaches go from selling soullessly with full of soul. I'm talking to the ultimate closer today, people. So if you've ever in your life desired to know how to close and close with soul, this is the episode for you. We got with us none other today. We're talking to Luis Noriega, founder of Limitless Luminary, a $5 million high-ticket sales closer. He is a top performer for brands like Tony Robinson, Dean Graziosi, and Passion.io. I know, can you believe it? Now he helps online coaches and consultants enroll more of their dream clients without selling out their souls. Welcome today, Luis. What's going on, man? How are you doing? How are you feeling?
What's up? What's up? I appreciate that. Love the energy. Always a blessing to be in your presence because, of course, you are blessed and anointed. So happy to be here. Happy to contribute any way I can.
All right, before we get into the business brilliance that is you, what's something unexpected about you that most people wouldn't guess?
Wow, something unexpected. I think the biggest thing is the idea of like don't judge a book by its cover. So it can go both ways. Sometimes people have told me like, "Oh man, you look so intimidating," or like I was like thinking you're gonna be some like hardcore like mean guy, and I was like, no, I'm like super relaxed. But also I've had it where people have said, oh, I kind of underestimated you, or like more maybe on that work team dynamic, where it's like, I thought you were too chill, or I thought you were too relaxed. But the unexpected thing is I love work because it's always about giving and serving and like reaching a new level. So for me, I'm happy to be underestimated, overestimated, all that. At the end of the day, the results will speak for themselves. So I think that idea of like don't judge a book by its cover. You never know what's going to be underneath the surface. And so I think that's a big piece that I've encountered not just recently, but I think throughout my life as well. All the way back from school all the way till now. But I would say that's one of the pieces.
I love that. I love that. So I love to get into people's origin story. Take us back. What made you get into sales and client enrollment in the first place?
Yeah, so my family, we've always had family-owned businesses. So we've owned like grocery stores, we've sold like perfumes and things like that, door to door, fruits and vegetables and all these different things. So the entrepreneurial spirit has always been in my life. My grandfather actually he's like 80 something years old. He's still managing his own little shop out in Mexico. Like pretty hands off, but like we come from that lineage, right? Of like entrepreneurial. We want to do our own thing. We want to help people in any way we can with our talents, with our gifts. And so when I was in UCLA studying economics, my question was like any like person who's about to graduate, what's that next step, right? And so for me, what's funny is I actually wanted to become a financial advisor. I was like all in on financial advising and like going to the meetups and going to like all these different places to try to learn more about it and get involved in that world. But long story short, well, let me give a little bit about my background as well. So I was born in Mexico, and when I was going through college, I had like a permit or like some sort of permission to be in the States and to go to college. However, to be a financial advisor, you had to be pretty much a US citizen, right? Because you're dealing with obviously, bank and information, personal data. That crushed me. I still remember like when I got hit with the news. I was obviously like, told the recruiters, all these people, like, all right, cool, no problem. I was pretty nonchalant about it. As soon as I closed my laptop, I remember walking outside and I just like cried and I was like, what? Like I've been working so hard for this. Like, what do I do now? So I remember taking a walk around this little neighborhood I was at, and that idea hit me. I was like, well, my family, we've always been in business. I'm studying econ. Like, let me just check out like sales in terms of a profession. I never really wanted to do it because also, let's be honest, usually when people think about sales, they think about selling your soul and scammy and sleazy and all these other things, right? So I naturally was like, yeah, I don't want to be that. Like, that's not, I want to be a financial advisor and like, right? So when I applied to several different organizations, I ended up getting Oracle, which is a huge multi-billion-dollar organization, and I kind of took it like, well, let's just see, let's just see what happens. But long story short, that's how I got into sales, like officially, professionally, because it actually didn't work out that I was going to be a financial advisor. But as you can see now, years later, over 11 years later now, selling professionally, I am an advisor, right? I am a coach, I am a mentor, but not in financial services. Now, more so in this realm of coaching, consulting, sales, and online businesses.
I love that. So was there a specific moment where you were like, I'm not just selling, I'm empowering people to make life-changing decisions?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because when I was at Oracle, I had a conversation with so for context, when you're selling in these big corporations, you're talking to, VPs, CEOs sometimes, and you're like a 20 something year old. So you really have to like level up your game very fast if you want to not only succeed, but stay in the game. So I remember distinctly this one time where I was talking to somebody who's a VP of something or other, and then he made a remark that really switched things up for me. And I was asking him a couple of questions, discovery questions to see where he was at. But he hit me with like, well, what do you think? Because you're the professional, right? It's like, well, what do you think? Because you're the professional. And then that kind of hit me, right? Because I was like, well, cool, you're right. I am a professional, right? So, but then also I'm like, wait, what does that mean? So to be a professional, you're not going to be just ramming things down people's throats or, all these kind of negative connotations around sales. You're really looking to understand them, looking to bridge them to a possible solution, and then looking to see how you can make it work with the numbers and decision-making factors. So that was one of the first moments, again, over 11 years ago when I decided and I made the decision, like, yeah, I'm not like some sort of sales guy. I'm a professional, like I'm an advisor. Because remember, I was coming like out of this whole idea of I'm an advisor already into this world of sales, but I still wanted to maintain that level of like, I'm not here to sell you. I'm really here to understand and consult. And okay, sure, I am in a sales role, but ultimately it was about advising.
What mindset, if any, did you feel like you had to let go of in that transition to become a top closer?
100%. So I also want to preface the answer by saying like there's been times where I have kind of dipped into this state of like like I need the sale or like if numbers are down, like I really need to make this happen. So I also want to say like I'm not perfect, right? And I also understand that like as humans we can dip in and out of these different states, but one of the biggest states that you really need to let go of or that I had to let go of was this idea of scarcity, this idea of like rushiness, right? Like pushing people comes from you wanting to meet your needs before theirs. That's
Mm.
all it is. Like you're literally just trying to meet your needs before theirs. That's not an advisor. That's not a consultant at the highest levels, a closer at the highest levels. So the opposite, the flip side is like, look, I'm here to again understand. I'm here to listen. I'm here to guide you. Um, and also the other thing is, and Eli Wild is a phenomenal sales trainer, leadership coach. He talks about needing nothing attracts everything, right? Because we're coming from a place of wholeness. We're coming from a place like, I'm good. Like, listen, I'm just here to help, like literally. And so those are certain mindsets I needed to introduce. But so the flip side of that is what I needed to let go of. Like, oh, I'm not enough if I don't get the sale. I'm not enough if this person doesn't close. I'm not enough if I'm not hitting my sales goals. Right. But again, I've fallen back into those kind of mindset traps. But you always bounce back. It's not about if, it's about when that does happen, how quickly you can snap out of it. But I would say that's probably one of the biggest things is snapping out of scarcity, snapping out of like wanting to meet your needs above the person in front of you.
That what you just said felt like almost like a paradigm shift in my brain. Because that's the space that I'm trying to come out of, right? Like I've hit a dip. And like you said, there are ebbs and flows in this. And like realizing like, you know what, like I am good, all my needs are met. Like September was a hard month. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, it was hard.
I hear you.
Starting like I'm co-owner of a publishing company now. So I'm not a solopreneur anymore. Like there's a corporation and I have people who are depending on me, right, to bring in a certain revenue so that they can feed themselves and their families. And so there is that pressure where like I got to the space where I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Me and myself and I, we're good solopreneurship. We're great. I'm closing sales. I only need a couple of months to, you know what I'm saying, pay for me and my family. And now I'm like, there are other people's families who are
I
depending on this.
know, right?
And so just like trying to come out of there. And I want to give a little context to some people. Lewis was my coach. Like before I started selling anything, he coached me into helping me first off figure out who my ideal client avatar was. And that shifted like mid coaching. Like
I know, yeah,
we were
yeah.
creating a framework and all these processes for a client who I do not even serve anymore. Or at all. I never served them, and we shifted. And when that shift came, that was when the first sales came, right? And so if you're confused about where to go, what to do, how to ramp up, how to close, Lewis is definitely a dope individual to speak to, and try to get some help from. So I want to say thank you. I feel like I've said it in the
I
past, but
know,
I want
I
to
know.
publicly say thank you for just helping me not only learn the art of service, but learning how to like stay grounded through the process. So I appreciate that. And I want to segue that with what do you feel like the biggest misconception of like coaches and consultants have when they're trying to enroll clients? So we're not talking about like just the close, but like actually trying to like establish this relationship with. I have a question for you. How long have you been sitting on your book idea? If you're tired of thinking about it and ready to actually make progress, join me the last Sunday of every month for my live writing masterclass. Now, this isn't just another class. It's an interactive space where you finally gain some clarity on your book to help you break through some mindsets that are blocking you and get the roadmap to actually start writing. And as a bonus, when you register, you'll get a free 20-minute coaching session with me. Spots are limited. Don't wait. Click the link in the show notes and scan the QR code to sign up. Let's get your book out of your head and onto the page. I'll see you there.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It's like the misconception is that they think that because it is business, it's a transaction, right? They think like, let me send this DM real quick, let me send this email real quick, let me get on this call real quick, right? Again, it's about speed and it's about like, I need to make money, I need to grow my business. Why? Because it's a powerful concept, right? Coaching, consulting, helping, healing. However, that concept is around this framework of business, and business does need money to grow, right? It does need money to continue. So sometimes what happens is that we have money mindsets about like how things should be or all this stuff, and sometimes that's what gets in the way, right? It's not even the fact that it's coaching; it's just our own money mindsets that prevent us from showing up full, showing up grateful, right? And so what we want to do is look at, okay, how can we take a step back and remember why we started, remember who we are? Because when we do that, then we can get into a place of service and wholeness and fullness. And when you do that, then the game doesn't become about a transaction. To your point, it becomes about, hey, let me relate to this person. Let me connect with this person, right? It's about connections. It's about discovery. Like even for me, to your point, not even closing or handing objections, but when you're like trying to figure something out with somebody, all it is discovery. All it is like, let me take a look at this person. They're saying in their mind, let me take a look at this coach because she might be able to help me. She might be able to help me publish this, that, and the third. But you also need to come in and say, let me take a look at what's going on in their situation. When you do that, what happens is a major shift because now you're not showing up like, I'm gonna pitch, I'm gonna like sell. You're saying, I'm going to discover, I'm gonna unearth, I'm going to figure out where they're at, and it's a completely different energy, right? Perspective. Just that alone, like that is what a lot of coaches and consultants miss out on is they need to remember why they started, who they are. You're a coach, you're a healer, right? You're a mentor. So because of that, you're there to guide and serve and take these people to the next level. It could be through your coaching program. It could be through somebody else's. That's not the point. The point is, how can I guide you to say, hey, listen, based on where you're at, honestly, I don't think I would be the best fit, but for you, so and so, I think would be amazing because of these factors. Talk about being full. Talk about being, I'm getting chills thinking about it, right? Like, you don't need anything at that point. You're literally just giving, right? But that's difficult, right? When you look at my team needs, right? The paychecks or the invoices are due and all these things. However, and you can, I'm sure you have thousands of stories. You can think back to a time when you were in a bad spot or whatever, but when you gave, things shifted for you, right? And when you had faith, things shifted for you. And that's really what it is you're just having faith in the process. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions is like when you become a coach or consultant, like business, business, business. Yes, and also you're a coach, you're a guide, you're a healer, you're a mentor. Like remember that. That's like your heart.
All right. So I want to talk about something because it's one thing to talk about doing the thing, and then there's another to do the thing. You've closed over $5 million in high ticket sales. What is your philosophy behind selling with integrity?
Yeah. Again, it's the biggest thing is just the approach. So the approach in the way I sell and the way I'm closing or enrolling coaching clients is that it truly just is a conversation. It's just a conversation. That's the major difference between me and a lot of closers and sales pros, right? Like a lot of them, they go in there and their focus isn't the conversation. Their focus is the result. Like we got to close them, we got to get the money, we got to collect the credit cards. Okay, so what makes me different? My focus, even in the way I start conversations, I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but I always say, cool, Jory, so tell me a little bit more about your journey. How long have you been thinking about publishing books? How many times have you been on a sales call where they're asking about your journey? How many times have you been on a sales call when people are like really looking to understand you outside of like these other questions that you probably hear all the time? It's very rare. I've never heard it. I've been on several sales calls. I've never heard that, right? So why do I use that idea of your journey? Because again, now it's not about the like the conversion and the sale and the like transaction. It's truly about let me get a sense of where you're at. Let me truly like listen to you and be here with you, like be where my feet are at, and that's right here, right now.
Mm. So your approach, I've experienced it, right? So I'm it clearly effective because I'm pretty skeptical and I don't like giving people my money.
I hear you. Yeah, all of us.
Um, you have a framework. You have something that you teach your clients that
Yes.
consistently works. I don't need you to give away the kitchen sink. High, so 500 foot level, 500,000 foot level. What does that start with? Because it sounds like it's starting not even with scripts. It sounds like it's starting with heart.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right. So I'll tell you actually. So it's actually pretty straightforward. The way it works is that there's certain pieces to this puzzle. I'll give you a few of them. So for you guys who are listening, write these down. So when you're going into a conversation, of course, there's going to be the traditional intro and how are you, Jory? And right, like of course, right. So intro is the first piece. People call that rapport or whatever. It's really just an intro, like where are we at, how we doing, right? That's totally up to you how deep you want to get into that. I'm not big on like, what's the weather like over there? Like, no, I usually just like to keep it very simple. Once we get through the intro, we go right into the idea of like how long, right? The journey piece. Cool. So awesome. So tell me a little bit more, I guess, like how long have you been thinking about launching an app? How long have you been thinking about losing, the 10 pounds that you said here on your form? How long, right? Like tell me a little bit more about your journey. I dive right into that. So intro and then how long. Usually, if they're not, even if they're brand new, right? Even if they say, well, honestly, like I just thought about it yesterday when I saw your ad, or I just thought about it today. No problem at all, right? Because now we can get into, okay, what have you tried or what are you trying, right? So then that's the next step is intro, how long, and then what are they trying or what have you tried? So usually in our context, we're helping people in businesses. Gotcha. So how long have you been looking to launch a book? How long have you been looking to publish this, then the third? Okay. They will tell you, yeah, you know what? It's been recent, right? You could even get into that. Okay, cool. What triggered it? What was it that caused you to say, you know what, let's do this? Now, what we're doing also in terms of sales and influence, we're building a little bit of urgency, not in a way to manipulate, but we're extracting, unearthing what is causing you to say, let's do this now, right? Okay, so they'll tell you. Okay, so intro, how long, what are you trying? What have you tried? They will tell you, I've tried coaches, I haven't tried anything, I'm brand new. Okay, we're just unearthing what's going on. Then we get into the idea of like pain points or challenges, right? That's where we get into more like what's working or what's not working. Again, this is very conversational, right? It's like, gotcha. So tell me a little bit more about that. I guess like, how's that been working for you? Like you would ask this to your cousin telling you about her situation with her husband, right? It's like, oh, and how's that been? Right? You're not saying, well, like all these salesy tactics. No, you're just having a conversation. They will tell you. And you're naturally taking notes. By the way, for your audience, I'll go ahead and send them the actual template I use. That's plug and play. Like literally, like it's formulaic in the sense that you just got to plug in what they're telling you into this framework. Okay. It's not a script, it's a framework, it's a formula that you follow. So once they do that, usually you'll get a lot of like challenges, pain points, what's been working, what's not working, what bothers them most about that. I even asked that question as well. Okay, and I see that you've been trying this for like 2 years. I'm curious, like what bothers you most about that? Do you feel that you should be like in a different place by now? You ask them these questions, yeah, to like get pain points, but also to understand them, to really get a sense of like where are they at, right? So once we get this first half, we move into the second half. Okay. The second half is now what's their vision? What are they after? What's their end game? What does success look like? We'll get into their big why around that vision. Okay, gotcha, Jorian. I'm curious. Tell me a little bit more about like what's your big why around wanting to get to $50,000 months and having your own team behind you? What's the end game? You want to sell the business? You see, so we're really getting in there very conversationally, very methodical, but not scripted at all, very conversational. So we get the vision, we get the why. Here's one of the most powerful things, though, that you absolutely have to get in every single conversation. It's the why now. It's the why now. To do that, though, you have to be clinical. You can't just like blurt it out. I like to do a two-step process where you set it up. The first question you'll ask is, okay, gotcha, Jory. So I understand your journey and everything you've been through. Can I ask you a personal question though? Can I ask you an honest question? Can I ask you an uncomfortable question, right? You can frame it however you like. They just through pure intrigue are most likely going to say, yeah, right? Or like, yeah, like what, right? That's what we're doing is we're getting them to just be a little bit more open, a little bit more like connected. Okay. When they say yes to that question, I've never had someone say no. Okay. Literally. Okay. They'll say yes. So then you go ahead and ask, okay, gotcha. So I'm just curious, did something happen recently in your life or business that's causing you to say, you know what, let's do this. Like, let's really like launch our book or kind of like why now though? And so go back and listen to that because I stumbled over my words a little bit. It was very drawn out. It was again methodical in the tonality. You're not just gonna hit them with like, oh yeah, cool. So I guess like why now though? They're gonna give you a surface level answer because the way you're asking it is very surface level. It doesn't sound like you actually care. Right. But if you're saying, yeah, like even in the way I'm like my eyes are squinting a little bit, like I'm like, moving my body in a certain way. Like, yeah, so tell me, like, did something happen like recently that's caused you to say, you know what, let's do this. Let's launch this coaching business, or kind of like, why now though? And I always go like this, like, why now though? Because it's grounded, it's cementing into reality. Like, tell me what's going on. I'm very curious, but I'm not saying that. It's just through the tonality and the body language. So let me pause there because there's a lot more. But what's coming up for you, Jory? Is this helpful? Is this giving you some ideas?
It's interesting because as like I guess like a 2D or like a mentee of yours, like while you're talking, I'm hearing a lot of the things that like I do. And like people are like, well, why do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like it just seems the right thing to do. And I'm like,
That's funny.
oh, that's where I got it from. Like, okay, like now
It's
that makes sense
subconscious.
because literally, like, I call myself the story excavator, right? And all of your language has been around unearthing. And that's literally what I do on every discovery call, every coaching call. Like, even before we jumped on here, I was meeting with a client and that was my first question. My first question was like, what is the goal? Like outside of us working together, like what is the end game? All right. And what does that look like? Why do you want this? Okay. What are you trying to do now? Like why you said Q4? What's so important about Q4? You know what I mean? Like it works.
Yeah.
It's effective because, but and to your point, I care. Like I legit care. Like I want people to win. Like I want them to do well. Like I have had clients who I'm like, your book is amazing. I actually want to help you get a literary agent. Like, don't publish with me. Don't,
Yeah.
my money comes from people publishing with me. Let's be clear. So by me not taking this client, I am not getting the money. Um, but the highest good was her getting a literary agent. It wasn't
There
right
we go.
hybrid publishing with me. And so I love the fact that you're like codifying and putting language to the things that like I do, and I'm like, that makes so much sense. Like you're my first coach. I don't know if you know that. Like prior to you, I didn't work with I was like, coaching,
Yeah. I
what's that?
remember.
How do you so you just like give people money and then like they tell you what to do?
I know, I know. And so that's why this is so powerful because a lot of us as coaches and people who care, we do these things like unconsciously, but that's called unconscious competence. We're good, but we don't know why. Okay, the problem with that is what? It's not replicable. You can't go into every conversation with absolute certainty and confidence and faith because you don't really have a framework. You don't really have a process. You're just kind of like winging it and you're leaning on your soul and your heart. Cool. And also, how many times have we had a bad day and like just had an argument with our significant other? Now we got to go through business like, right. So when we have a framework and a process, we don't need to trust even ourselves. We just got to trust the process. Got to follow the process. Right. So the last bit here is once you get the why now, you get into a sequence where the goal is then to help them see what happens if nothing changes. Accountability at its finest. This is where a lot of our prospects get a little bit squirrely, right? They'll give you surface level answers. They'll be like, well, nothing happens, or like, well, it's not that serious, or whatever they say. This is where now from my method, the aligned self method, your leadership, your energy needs to come into play. You need to hold them accountable. You need to stick with it. If they give you two surface level answers, you go back for a third. So usually what happens is you'll say, okay, gotcha. Like why now though? They'll tell you, okay, and I'm curious, like if it's 12 months from now and nothing changes though, I guess like what would you miss out on, Jory? It sounds like this is really important for you. If Jory says, well, yeah, it's kind of important for me, but I don't know, it's nothing really. I mean, right? Like something like that. Then what I need to go back, say, gotcha, I hear you, Jory. I'm curious though, like what's the rationale, right? Like you don't seem like the type of person to just come on a call willy-nilly. Like you seem like a purposeful type of person. What's the purpose behind this? What's ultimately at stake? You hit them again, not in an aggressive way, but you hold them accountable. All right. And then if they feel that from you, they will feel like, okay, wait, she actually cares. She actually gives a crap, right? And that's when they'll open up. If you go through a conversation and you don't really know what their vision is, why they want to do it, why they want to do it now, and or why what the consequence would be, that person's most likely not going to enroll. Okay. And it's your responsibility to go back and get those answers. Right. So that's why when you go back and listen to the recording, but it's very straightforward. It's intro, how long, What have you tried? Okay, what are the challenges? Okay, what's the vision? What's the why behind that vision? Why do you want to do that now? What's the consequence if nothing changes? And then the last bit is usually, okay, and is that something you're willing to settle for? Are you the type of person, now we bring identity in here, right? Are you the type of person who's willing to settle for that though? No, it's like, why not then? Like you're almost leaning out, but also very much leaning in to want to know like what's going on here, right? By the way, if you really need to, if the person's being like very difficult and they're not like opening up for their own good, you can say, gotcha, okay, well, like Luis, can I ask you a can I ask you an honest question? Sure. Like, well, look, you just told me you really want this for these reasons, but now that we're trying to understand really like why you want to do this kind of at this time, I'm getting a lot of resistance. So can I ask, like, what's going on, man? Like, what's coming up for you? So you gotta get in there, and obviously these are uncomfortable conversations. It does take a lot of leadership. It does take a lot of certainty to get in there and ask these questions. But that's the framework. Write that down. Again, I'll send you guys the actual template where you don't even have to memorize it. You just fill in the blanks. If they're talking about their vision, you plug it in there, but then they go back to, oh, I've tried these coaches, you go back up there. Right. So I can visualize that because I've used it for years. And that's what's helped me enroll 5 million plus is because I'm structured, but also I care. And those two worlds combined is what creates the results.
All right. Listen. I gotta know what you've worked with Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Passion.io, your business, Limitless Luminary. Where do you see your impact expanding from this company, right? This is your own thing. We're not closing for other people anymore. Now we're building our own house, our own hands, brick by brick. Where do you see your impact expanding from here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest piece there is the idea of leadership, the idea of like helping my coaches, my people really own themselves, really remember who they are, why they started this. Because again, like business is cyclical, and there's times when we are in a rut, and there's times where we're like, you know what, why am I doing this? And should I go back and get a job or something? But whenever I can come in and give you this sense of certainty, this sense of confidence, this sense of even belief in yourself, or reminding you, like, you're talking about this is who you are, this is what I'm seeing in you. I can breathe life into you, I can speak life into you. And that's usually what does it for my clients. So, yeah, it's sales and yeah, it's conversions and get more money and make more money. But okay, but the root of that fruit is spirit. It's literally like this energy, right? This even now, like it's flowing through me. I'm getting chills. So that's my expansion. I know you started with that. It's like, hey, usually we talk about God and this and that. Well, actually, that's what I'm about too. So when someone really gets to know me and we're jamming out as clients or friends or whatever, I will then start to bring some of these things in mind. Like for me, it's very popular, but that's what's very powerful is Psalm 23, right? Or Psalm 91, right? Or like certain like biblical teachings that you don't even have to be Christian. You just have to be wise enough to take that in and say, wow, actually, I can apply this in my business. I am guided, I am blessed, I am protected, I am anointed. Like I am divinely inspired to take these actions. So that's the core of it is like, how can we bring God and expand the kingdom of God for my beliefs and yours and introduce Jesus to people through our word, right? But not being very blatant or overly like, right? Like in their face about it. It's more like through the fruits. Hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what you see, right? Like you see me driving a Tesla, you see me doing like working with these companies. So it's like, how did he do that? Well, yeah, it was sales and it is these things, but also it's the spirit and it's also God and it's also giving glory to God and sharing that with a wider community. And that's my true mission at the deepest levels. In the surface, obviously, in terms of like getting out there, sales, business conversions, all that. But because this is my own thing now, like with my people, I can before a meeting, I can pray, right? I can talk about that and be okay with it. I think that's the biggest thing.
I love that. What is your message to the person listening right now who's stuck Brilliant, gifted, but afraid to ask for the sale.
Yes, you have to remember it's not about you. It's not about you, the person. Well, let me ask you, right? Like for whoever's listening, again, why did you start coaching? Was it about you and you being this like person on the billboards and this person on like the reels and all this? Probably not, right? You saw yourself helping and like being in there with your people and transforming lives and making an impact. Okay, cool. So if that's true, then isn't it true that what you're doing is really just helping someone level up, helping someone get to their next like level? Okay, if that's true, then when you are in a sales conversation, when you are talking about money, it's not about you anymore, right? Like and then I'm just gonna say, about you just got to mature. You have to mature and stop thinking so small and so limited and so selfishly, right? Because that's when you say, hey, actually, this is about the mission. This is about impact. This is about transformation. And if those things are true, then again, it should not even come to mind, like presenting the price or enrolling someone, because you're literally a bridge at that point. Metaphorically, you're the connector. They're over here. They see this vision over here. And you're that person in between that say, listen, I've been there, I've done that. Here's how much it is. I would love to work with you because of these reasons. Are you ready to get to work? Right? You're just a bridge to get them across. They may say no, they may say yes, let's do it. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're doing this for a mission. And again, if that is true, you got to just be honest with yourself. Okay, what's the mission? If it's not you, then okay, cool. Then you can get out of your own way and focus on the people that is the person that's right in front of you and the thing that you know you can serve them with.
Wow. All right, guys. Listen, that was Louis Noriega of Limitless Luminary. You can find him at limitlessluminary.co or at Luminary Lou on Instagram. Is that you?
Yeah, Luminary Louis on Instagram. Also, you guys can find me over at School. I have a free community. It's www.school.com/aligned. You can look me up there. It's free. We jam out every Tuesday on a call. So come on in. Again, it's free. That's what we're here to do. It's just to give advice, impact. And if and when people are ready, I'm more than happy to serve them in a more, professional way, container, doing some coaching with them. But that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Listen, people, as always, here at 30 Minutes of Power, we encourage you to be an empowered person using your power to empower others. Till next time, people. Peace. All right, before we wrap up today, I want to remind you, if the book is on your heart, then this Sunday is your chance to finally take that first step. Join me for a live writing masterclass, and we'll break down the book writing process and get you moving forward from idea to execution. So head over to joryoneal.com/your_story_matters. Thanks for tuning in to 30 Minutes of Power. We hope today's episode inspired you to take action and make a positive change in your life. Remember, your power is meant to empower others. So share this episode with someone who needs encouragement today. We'd love to hear from you. So connect with us on Instagram at 30 Minutes of Power. Until next time, stay empowered and keep empowering others.
30 minutes of power.